This is going to, obviously as always, we're going to go through a sugya, a subject, based on a Mishnah and a Gemara and a Talmud. We're going to go through a discussion and interesting questions, answers. But through the subject, we are going to get new insights on new principles, new concept in the Talmud. This one is probably one of the most famous and fundamental principles or concept of the Talmud, and that is the concept of the four guardians. Arba'a Shomrim. We've spoken here and there because we had to. They just come up within the discussion. They just come up, those four Shomrim here in this tractate in Baba Metzia. So I think it would be good, since the entire Mishnah is based on a discussion about the liability, about the description of liability or levels of liability of those four custodians, to give a short introduction of what is the liability level of each one of the four guardians. Okay? So let's begin with our Shomer Chinam, which we spoke about in last course. Shomer Chinam is a nice guy. They're all nice. Shomer Chinam is an unpaid custodian, meaning he's doing a favor. Nir says, for example, traveling. Could you? He says to Harry, could you please do me a favor and keep my computer? So Harry says, yeah, sure, fine, no problem, I'll keep it for you. And you say, what do I owe you? He says, no, it's a favor, I'll just keep it, I'll make sure. Unpaid guardian, unpaid custodian. Shomer Chinam has the lowest level of liability. After all, he's doing a favor. He's not paid for it. So what is expected from you, Harry, is to safekeep the object, making sure nothing happened to it, and you'll be able to return the object to Neil when he comes back from vacation. But how much are you liable if something happened with it? Let's say the computer broke. While it was in Harry's home. That is called unseen. Just happened. It broke. Harry is exempt to reimburse the computer. Okay? What about if it was stolen or lost? It's gone. Harry is also exempt. But what if, let me just conclude, I'll take your question. What if it was, something happened to it because of his negligence? That was your question. Meaning he opened the door, right, of the home, and he went for a walk in the park. And he opened the door and the windows and everything, and it's right there. And it got stolen. That's pshia, right? Or let's say Harry took the computer and he says, you know what I did? I was holding the computer and I dropped the computer. Pshia. You dropped the computer and it broke, then you are liable to pay. So there is pshia, gneva ve'aveda, and unseen. Pshia means it was your negligence that you're liable. Gneva ve'aveda, if it was stolen or lost, as long that you did, you closed the door, did everything necessary that any normal custodian would do, you are exempt from liability. And how much more so if something happened to it which is out of control. The computer broke, the unpaid custodian, the Shomer Chinam, is completely patur, is completely exempt. Okay? One more thing you have to know about the Shomer Chinam is that since you're an unpaid custodian, you can't use the object for your own purpose. while Nir is away, you can say, well, may as well use the computer. You can't do that. Okay? Then we're going up a level. Now is the Shomer Sachar. Shomer Sachar is a paid custodian. Business guy, he does things for a payment, and if you ask him to keep the object, he says, sure, I charge $25 a day. That is my rate. And he says, no problem. Now, since you're paying $25 to Harry, all of a sudden he's now a paid custodian, it is obviously expected from him a higher level of liability. Which means, not only you'll be chayav b'pshia, not only you're liable for anything that happened due to your negligence, such as taking the computer and dropping it on the floor, or such as opening the door and it got stolen, but also if it got stolen or lost for whatever reason, although you were just safekeeping the object. Normally, you closed the door, everything was okay. You were responsible. You did everything necessary, but it got stolen or it got lost. Since you're a paid custodian, you will have to. You're liable to pay him back. Yet, you still cannot use, although you paid for it, you still cannot use the object for your own benefit. Then we have a third type of, you would say, in a way, a custodian. We call him a shomer. And that's a renter, a socher. Now remember about the socher, because the socher and the next guy are going to be relevant to our mission. Moshe is the maskir, you're the owner, and you're renting out your car to Susan, and she is the socher, or the socheret. Now, you, Susan, in a way, you are now a shomer. There is some liability, although you're renting for it and you're paying for it, but there is some type of liability that is upon you, expected to safeguard the object properly and to return the object to the owner. How much? So this is actually a discussion in the Talmud. Whether it is like a shomer chinam or whether it is like a shomer sachar. Do you consider the socher an unpaid custodian? Or you consider him like a paid custodian? And this would be two opinions and two views of how to define that transaction of rental. I'm not going to go into this is actually a fascinating discussion, and perhaps in the future. I'm not going to go into it right now, but just so you know, Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda somewhere in the Talmud are discussing that, whether you would have a status of an unpaid custodian or a paid custodian. The difference would be in the case of stolen and lost, theft and lost. Are you responsible for that? Because shomer chinam and shomer sachar are very similar in two areas, two extremes. Negligence, pshia, both are liable. Unseen, out of control, things that may have happened to the object, both of them are exempt, are not liable. The difference would be gneva and aveda, which is theft or loss. The unpaid custodian is not liable, the paid custodian is liable. What about the renter? Well, this is the question, do you consider him, while the object is in his property, in regards to the object, is he an unpaid custodian? or in regard to the object, it would be considered a paid custodian. All right? Meaning, would it be liable to pay for theft or loss, or you would be exempt?
Can you give an example for a case of lost without negligence? Like if you lost the car or lost the computer, how can it be without negligence?
There is an object, let's say it's a watch or any type of object, and it's in the house, and you've got a helper who's coming once, someone who's cleaning the house, right, from an agency, cleaning agency. There is an individual who comes once a week, and he's cleaning, and somehow he didn't steal the watch. Somehow the watch ends up in the garbage. Got lost. We can create, with a bit of imagination, a context where it gets lost. Okay? So, fourth type of custodian is the shoel, and that is the borrower. The borrower, he, how do you define him? He gets everything. Kol ana shelo. All the benefits is his. Meaning, he's actually the other extreme that the unpaid custodian, because the unpaid custodian is doing a favor to just keep the object, but he's not allowed to use it for himself. But when I borrow from you, I'd say, oh, you've got, you've got a bike. I said, could you please lend me the bike? He said, sure, go ahead. And I borrow from you the bike. When I borrow the bike, it's obviously with the intention I can use the bike. But that's the purpose of the borrowing. So actually, not only, I don't pay anything to you, I don't get paid, I just enjoy the object. Shomer chinam, he is not getting paid, but he can't use it. Shomer sachar, he can't use it, but he's getting paid. The socher, he can use it, but he's paying for it. The shoel, he doesn't pay anything for it, and he can use everything. So therefore, the borrower is expected to have the highest level of liability. And that would mean, fine, you can have it, you can use it, we don't pay you, you don't have to pay, but if anything happened, you have to return the object as is. So obviously, if you were negligent, of course, you'll be liable. So too, if it got stolen or lost, you will be liable. But even if something happened to it, unseen, out of control, it broke, it died, you'll still be liable. Okay? So if I borrow from you a computer and it died while it's in my possession, I am liable to return a computer or its value to you, to the owner. This is going to, obviously as always, we're going to go through a sugya, a subject, based on a Mishnah and a Gemara, 4 guardians. Arba'a Shomrim. We've spoken here and there because we had to. They just come up within the discussion. They just come up, those 4 Shomrim here in this tractate in Baba Metzia. So I think it would be good, since the entire Mishnah is based on a discussion about the liability, about the description of liability or levels of liability of those 4 custodians. This one is probably one of the most famous and fundamental principles or concept of the Talmud, and that is concept of the and a Talmud. We're going to go through a discussion and interesting questions, answers. But through the subject, we are going to get new insights on new principles, new concepts in the Talmud.